The show starts in 1 minute.
Please remember to replace the speaker on the post when you leave the theater. And now, on with the show.
Hello and welcome to episode 86 of Saturday Matinee Theatre, brought to you by your friends at the LONGBOX CRUSADE. We are back in jolly old England in our recording studio set up deep inside Sherwood Forest. I'm your host, Jared Ulrich, the art sale artist, and joining me, as always, is the Little John. Go ahead, Pat.
Yeah!
To my Robin Hood, it's Pat Sampson, a.k.a. DJ Cristados. Welcome back to Sherwood, Pat.
I am so happy to be here, so happy to be back in London, from our previous London visits. I got to get some pipes in and do some more smoking. I'm just feeling lucky. It's lucky time.
Woo!
Woo!
Oh, I had a feeling. Anyways, let me move on. Joining me is also the ugliest Maid Marian of all time. It is my older, wiser brother, Jason, the Weasel Skull Ulrich. Welcome back to Sherwood, Jason.
Hey, man, it's been a trip, man. This last weekend, this ugly count kept making moves on me and everything.
Woo!
This guy, man, he got C-blocked by me. He got his castle taken over by Robin Hood, and I beat his ass in the chest like 3 times. He's just not having a good day.
Oof, he is not. We also have with us our lovable Friar Tuck. It is Delvin the Dark Web Williams. How do you do, Friar?
Hey, good to be here, Jared. Like, look, I don't want to intrude or anything. I don't want to stay long. I think I'm just going to go ahead and leave.
No, stay here, man. Stay, have a drink with us, man.
What kind of drink?
We got wine.
Ooh. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, you're going to twist my arm about it. I guess I'll stay around then.
It's so easy. It really is.
We got red stripes and lucky stripes, man.
We got it all. All right. Playing the role of Alan J. Porter tonight is Gene Maurice Feldman Hendricks from his many other podcasting adventures, which I'm certain has something to do with Quasar. I don't know. But it's our old pal, Gene Hendricks. Welcome to Sherwood Forest, Gene.
Excuse me. I was like starting my podcast by sucking carcinogens.
Oh, yes. Come to the right place. Pat can hook you up.
Gene, I told you the first few, it takes a little bit to,
Yeah.
You can't take deep breaths the first few times.
You got to get ready, guys.
Yeah.
It's my guest.
Yes. Well, thank you for having me. This is a lovely greenery you have around here.
Well, thank you. Hey, tip of the day: the young boy named Peter over there. It's actually Maid Marian. Anyways,
Is that what you're doing the dishes?
You do not have to be weird about being attracted to Peter over there. Okay, trust me. It's very confusing. Anyways. So this is your first time with us here in Sherwood for a Robin Hood episode. So you get to answer the standard question for new guests. What is your first memory of Robin Hood, and what is your favorite iteration of the character on screen?
Well, they're actually kind of linked, because the very first time I remember seeing Robin Hood was in the Warner Brothers cartoon Rabbit Hood.
Nice.
So if you remember, that's where Bugs is in Nottingham doing the sheriff, and Little John always comes in and is, "Don't you worry, never fear. Robin Hood will soon be here." And then Errol Flynn actually shows up at the end of the cartoon.
That's good voice work, by the way. You're like a professional.
But my favorite iteration happens to be the Errol Flynn Adventures of Robin Hood.
So the old school. It's like the OG right there. Yeah.
And it's interesting watching through these episodes to catch up for this, and it's like, oh, okay, that looks very familiar. Wow, Friar Tuck's really like the movie, so it's been fun.
Absolutely. Yeah, I remember going back and watching that Errol Flynn Adventures of Robin Hood and just being like so excited that my man Basil Rathbone was in it. I was like, Basil Rathbone's in this. And that was awesome.
He's the villain.
Yeah, Sherlock Holmes as the villain. I was so frightened and confused, but he kind of steals the show. I'm not gonna lie. He's like, or maybe it's just me. Maybe I just love Basil. Anyway, this has been Jared and Gene talk about old Robin Hood. Thanks for joining us this episode. We'll see you next episode. You know what, Pat? Why don't you save us and let everybody know? Maybe this is their first episode. If it is, welcome. Let them know what they're in for. And again, just read the script. Don't let them know what they're in for.
Sure. Okay. Yes. Hold on.
Oh, that's smooth.
Yeah, man, that's so lucky. Saturday Matinee Theatre is a retro review, sometimes index show brought to you by the LONGBOX CRUSADE, where we'll be taking you back to the past with some potentially overlooked retro awesomeness in the realm of television, movie serials, or films. Basically, if it's vintage and it's kind of forgotten, we're going to dig it up. On this episode, we will continue our indexing of all 39 episodes of the 1955 television series, The Adventures of Robin Hood. 1955's Robin Hood was produced by Sapphire Films, run by Hannah Weinstein and Sidney Cole. It starred Richard Greene as Robin Hood and Alan Wheatley as the Sheriff of Nottingham. So take refuge in the forest, take off your quiver of arrows, get cozy around that fireplace, and let the gregarious music of the merry men whisk you away into the past. But don't get caught walking around the forest. You're going to get bopped on.
Okay, folks, before we hand it over to Delvin for this episode's information, let's take a look, or in this case, a listen to a commercial that would have been playing at the time this episode was released back in 1955. This will help get us in the right time frame of mind, if you will, transport us back to the 50s. And for this episode's commercial retro rewind, we have Lucky Cigarettes.
Light up a Lucky.
It's light up time.
Be happy, go lucky.
It's light up time.
For the taste that you like, light up a Lucky Strike.
Relax.
It's light up time.
The first cigarette of the day. Man, how good that tastes. And if it's a Lucky, it tastes even better. You know, Luckies can be depended on for better taste because they're made of fine, naturally good-tasting tobacco. Tobacco that's toasted to taste even better. Yes, it's toasted to taste better. Cleaner, fresher, smoother. So next time you get cigarettes, get better-tasting Lucky Strike.
For the taste that you like, light up a Lucky Strike.
Right now.
Light up a Lucky. It's light up time.
Okay, guys, you just heard a cigarette commercial. We don't condone smoking on the show. We want all of our listeners to be healthy and not indulge in those full flavor, delicious, smooth Lucky Strike. Or they're just, Lucky, they were Lucky Strikes. That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Lucky's for short on the street, right? Pat can't wait to talk about it, but we got to let our guest go first. Gene, what do you got?
This was interesting. Now, I grew up in the house with a smoker. My dad smoked cigarettes. I don't remember him ever lighting a cigarette after or before or during, it seemed like this, breakfast. That was just really, really strange. So, I mean, obviously cigarette commercials are weird just to begin with, especially if you have Fred and Barney in them. But this was just odd.
They're loaded with vitamin C, Gene.
And the tobacco is roasted.
Heck yeah.
Oh, that roasted flavor, yes.
The C stands for cancer.
Vitamin C your way to an oncologist. All right. These jokes just get better. I know the script says Jason's next, but Pat, we all know you need to talk about this. Then we'll go to Jason after you.
Oh, man. You know,
Pat, you're the only former smoker on the show. So let's clear the decks here. Did you ever smoke Lucky Strikes?
only the candy ones.
Oh, the old candy one. I actually have some of those in stock in my house right now.
Yeah, remember when the candy ones came in, like they look like the box?
I have some right now in my house.
Absolutely insidious. Can you believe that they let that be
I agree.
thing?
They were delicious, just like those.
I said it's. I'm going back on mute.
No, I got to say this because those candy cigarettes. One time we were at a flea market and I found a cigarette case like James Bond carries. And I loaded my candy cigarettes in the cigarette case so I could be fancy like James Bond.
Fancy like Jared with his bound comics.
Yes.
Show those if you want.
Those bound cigarettes. There you go. Yeah, I have not tried a Lucky. I've tried some other ones, but, and my dad was a smoker as well, too. So I remember going to the store and having to go buy them and then pick up my own candy cigarettes with the extra change that I had left from going down to the store. But yeah, can't say I tried Lucky's, but man, this commercial would make you make me want to get up, and at 7:50 a.m. I'm smoking. That's Lucky time.
It's roasted.
7:50, yeah. Just have some nice roasted coffee with a nice roasted cigarette. It's just, life is good, Jared. Life is good.
Pat, do you know when the last time you had a cigarette was?
Oh boy, that's a good question.
How long you been cleaning, man? What time is it now?
What time is it now? 7:50 a.m.
When did we start this show?
No, I actually don't know. It's been a while since I had the collapsed lung. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I'm glad you're off, man.
Yeah, I'm off that, but no heroin.
Very good. All right, Jason. How long has it been since you toked your last cigarette?
Well, full disclosure, I have never smoked a cigarette, not once in my life. Jared and I, our grandparents were big smokers, and we spent, when we were younger, we spent a lot of time at their house. And when I watched this commercial and I saw them all sitting in that nice kitchen, all I could think is that smoke has got to be getting into those curtains, getting into the towels, just nasty. Smoke that outside, man. Yeah, we used to come home and Mom would immediately make us undress and throw our clothes in the wash and take a shower. It was bad. So
they were like chain smokers.
Yes, they were like chain smokers. And yeah, so I watched that, I think Delvin said it. Insidious. Lucky strikes gonna lead to some unlucky strokes if you're not careful.
Yep, delicious, just like Delvin said. Speaking of Delvin, Delvin, you get the final word.
My dad smoked also, so we all had smokers in our family, and I distinctly remember, like, on some cold morning or whatever, like when I happened to be in the truck with my dad, like with the windows up, my dad was still freaking huffing on a cigarette. Me and my brother were dying. Yeah, like the idea of seeing that commercial and they're like, the husband and the wife are both taking a smoke in the morning is like, you imagine, like, hopefully they brush your teeth at least. Like, you're kissing each other with morning breath plus nicotine breath.
They got the gleam. They had the gleam back then.
Hopefully.
And the airwick kills odors.
You needed some gleam and some airwick for sure. It is crazy to me how, like, they advertise cigarettes like that. Like, it was just the most casual thing ever. And you're the coolest cat, on the block if you were smoking, and the lamest one if you didn't. Just sign of the times, All
right, I'm going to do a quick around the room for the core four here that have been here for every episode. Pat, do you prefer the breakfast cigarette Lucky Strike one, or I believe it was Marlboro's where the guy decided he wanted to take his engine apart and put it back together?
Ooh.
Which one did you like better?
Ooh, I think I like this one because I like the jingle.
Fair enough. Jason?
I think I like the Marlboro because it made me feel like a man. I could take my car apart and put it back together. You know what I'm saying?
I read you.
Of course, in this one, like, he kisses his wife and he says something to her. So, there was some hanky-panky about to go on after those Lucky Strikes. So,
you I don't know, like nicotine.
Nicotine and coffee, baby. My fire's burning.
Delvin, take the car apart, put it back together, or smoke with breakfast.
Probably had to like 2 minutes after coffee and say, okay, sorry. I I would take Marlboro. Like, I don't know. There's something about that dude that's just like, you know what? Like my freaking wife. My G darn kids. Oh my God. I just need
that car apart.
I just need some time alone. I'm taking this entire engine apart and putting it back together. Like, this is going to take hours and hours. I see that, and, like, my inner Al Bundy kicks in, and I just feel like putting my hand in my waist. And just something about it. The Marlboro Man, no doubt about it.
I'd probably smoke, how when your neighbor's working on his car, you just kind of hang out.
Yes.
Hey, hand me one of those cigarettes.
Yeah, can you hand me a screwdriver? Abso-freaking-lutely. What are we about to talk about? Nothing. We're just going to sit there in absolute silence. Like, oh my God.
Oh, man.
Silence.
Oh, the 50s are such a gold mine for these. I have to space them out to say I have anything.
Yeah.
Like, I found another cigarette commercial. Let me space it out because it's a gold mine for these. Anyways, we've gone on way too long. We are in the 50s mindset. We've all got our lucky strikes. Delvin's taking apart an engine, putting it back together. Pat's making breakfast. Jason supervising the whole thing. We've all got our cigarettes. And Delvin's going to give us the episode info.
Yes, sir. Episode 9 was titled Checkmate. Original air date, December 4th, 1955. Director, Ralph Smart. Writer, Peter Lambda. Lambda. With guest stars, Archie Duncan as Little John, Alexander Gage as Friar Tuck, Bernadette O'Farrell as Maid Marian, Leslie Phillips as Count de Walden, and Marie Burke as Nanny. As a reminder, all 39 episodes are available on YouTube. We highly encourage you to watch this episode before proceeding with this podcast because not only is it just more fun that way, but Jared is about to give a synopsis about this episode, and then we're going to discuss it. There are definitely some spoilers heading your way, so if you haven't watched this episode, we recommend you pause here, go check it out on YouTube, come back and join our discussion. It's only 26 minutes or so. It's not that big of a time demand. For those of you who are watching along with us, we'd love to hear your insights. Don't forget to comment about the show on Twitter using the hashtag #I'mFollowingRobinHood. Pat, are you ready with the loot?
I am ready, Delvin.
We'll go with the song and the loot.
Hashtag I'm following Robin Hood.
Jared.
Hashtag I'm following Robin Hood.
Thank you, Patty. Selma. Jason. Weasel Skull.
Hashtag I'm following Robin Hood.
Gene, would you like to join along with the shenanigans?
Of course. Hashtag I'm following Robin Hood.
That's right. Hashtag I'm following Robin Hood. And with that, let's turn it over to Jared for the episode summary.
Count de Walden is raising an army by any means necessary. His men are taking, and I do mean taking, anyone they can get their hands on. And when they take the young grandson of Maid Marian's nanny, Marian thinks it's high time that Robin Hood look into things, especially since de Walden says he'll release the grandson if Marian spends the evening with him. So while Maid Marian pretends to be interested in the Count, gaining intel, Robin and the lads work their way into the castle, pretending to be delivery men for the Count's weapons and armor. Will Robin save the men and Maid Marian's virtue? Well, yes, it's a 1955 TV show after all. But tune in and find out. Okay, guys, it's time to get into our highs and lows and what-thas and all that jazz. Round one starts with Gene. Are you going to lead us off with a high for the show, a low for the show, or a what-the? What are you going to do in round one?
I'm going to start with a high, and that's the humor. There couple instances of intentional humor and unintentional humor. So I'll give you an example of the intentional. That would be when Robin and Little John are in the blacksmith shop and he gives them a sword to test out, and Little John just says, "Oh, I'm going to do my best Sherlock Holmes," and bend it in half. And this is crap.
Hey, we know about these things.
Yes. Now, the unintentional humor, and this comes from me knowing way too much about this stuff. At one point, the Count tells his servant who is speaking French, no. And I actually wrote the quote down. "We're in England now. You must learn to use their language." Okay. The unintentional humor here is Richard the Lionheart didn't speak English. He only spoke French.
Oh, sacre bleu.
Because you have to remember, Richard, you remember his mother, Eleanor of Aquitaine?
Right.
Aquitaine is a huge swath of France. So Richard actually had more property in France than he did in England.
Nice. Look at Gene he's really competing with Alan and the Bold Outlaw.
I know. It's like they keep falling from trees, these folks, with all the...
You said I was filling in for Alan. I got to fill in for Alan.
You were doing a great job.
Yes. I just had this vision of like Alan Wright listening to this episode, and he's like, everybody knows that. we love you, Alan Wright and Alan Porter. But good job, Gene. Thanks for kicking it off. And now all of our comments are going to seem silly, but you know what? That's what we do. You know who's the silliest of us all? It's Pat.
Well, thank you, Jared. I really appreciate that. I feel so good. Oh, man. Just on that, hold on.
Yeah, get ready. Roasted.
Roasted with humor. All right. Well, I want to go and talk about, this plan that the DeWalt guy had here, or whatever, Count DeWalt or whatever his name was. Man, it was a pretty decent plan, He figured 2 plans he had. One, that's a long way to go to just ask somebody over for dinner, right?
Yeah, put the time in.
Yeah, put the time in, got a lot of people involved. All to just try to get this girl to come over and you can have her up for dinner, Man, that's a lot of work. But then the second plan was to get 3,000 suits of armor and 3,000 men. Doesn't matter what they look like or what they can do. But I thought that was a pretty clever plan. I'm like, yeah, I would be scared of that many men just kind of standing there and you not knowing what to happen. So good on him for that cool plan. It's better than some of the plans we've seen in the past.
It's like a psyop. We call that psyops in the military. Like he was just building a faux army. Faux. I don't know. A fake army.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't like they kind of lost me eventually because he was like, I got the part where they're like, hey, we're putting everybody in armor, so it looks like I got a bigger army than I got. And I was like, but for what? I never quite understood what he was going to do with it.
Because the garrison, there's only like 500 men. So you're going to go against the 500 men.
So who was he taking on? I didn't quite understand. I didn't think
he wanted to usurp the area from Richard.
Yes. Okay, so he's just kind of a land grab in that region.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
I think I was overcomplicating. I was like, is he going to the
He's a grabber.
And if so,
more than one way.
This is going to backfire on him once he gets into real battle. Yeah. But I get it now. Okay, thanks for explaining to me. I only watched it like 3 times. You'd think I would have picked it up, but I was all too busy writing my jokes in the script. Speaking of jokes, Jason.
I've got to push back on this because I had the plan as a what the what?
I didn't. Like I said, I didn't get it. But
well, okay, I got it. I got it. But his okay. So number one, he's got to put together an army of 3,000 people, no matter what condition they're in or what age they are. And by my count, he had 6. So he's got to step it up a little bit. He's got to step this plan up. How's he going to feed them? Just out of curiosity. I mean, how's he going to feed 3,000 people? Is he going to keep them all in that dungeon? That dungeon was about the size of my office, man. So it's like, I don't think that logistically he thought this through. That's all I'm saying. So, yeah, the plan didn't quite make sense. It made more sense just to get suits of armor instead of stack them up empty out.
You don't have to feed suits of armor.
Right.
It's important for our listening audience to know that Jason did an entire career as a military intelligence analyst, so these are the things he thinks about.
I was thinking this whole thing through. I was like, there's no way this is going to work, man. It's no wonder she's kicking the crap out of him at chess.
I can see Jason
for anything.
Jason's in his house with a big whiteboard and just
a piece of yarn and push pins and
I was creating overlays and everything. It's going back in time.
Episode, Jason.
Yeah, he had the old school projector that we all had when we were in high school, with like the light bulb in the 90-degree angle. I love it. But he's right. He's absolutely right. I think that's part of why my brain wouldn't latch onto this plan. Like, I was like, where is he going with this? Like, you really put a fine point on it. Where are you housing me? Where are these 3,000 dudes?
And you got 6.
Where are the other 2,994 guys?
He's like, I'm sorry, Marion, I can't have dinner with you tonight because I gotta find 2,994 guys stat. And then when Richard comes home, right? Is he gonna use these guys? Like, that little 14-year-old boy's gonna go up against Richard's army coming back from the Crusades? They're gonna get murdered.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Delvin, what do you love or don't love, or what the?
Maid Marian, right? I mean,
you mean Peter?
I mean Peter. No, I mean in this case, she was the lovely Maid Marian, and she even came back and she discussed the problem with Robin Hood, and Robin's like, give me 3 days, and he did that infiltration. But Maid Marian had to go play her part, and like the first thing she did, like I appreciate, she tried to go without Robin Hood, and she went to the Count and said, hey, like, you kidnapped a boy. He's a 13, 14-year-old boy. Like, why are you conscripting a 13, 14-year-old? And he was just, kind of a lech about it. And yeah, we'll strike a bargain and you come, have dinner with me and I'll let him go. And then he did the lock thing with the key. And it's like, oh, you're a creep. I mean, of course, it's easy to draw that line of him being a creep because it makes Robin Hood look even better with the rescue. So I get it from that standpoint, but just in general, like, ugh, creep. Maid Marian was resourceful throughout, and we just once again get to see the many different ways that she is absolutely the equal of Robin Hood, and especially strategically speaking. One, she just whipped the dude's butt and chest, which was an impressive feat. Then they also showed her doing some sword play as well, showing that she was efficient with the sword also. And she was able to just continually delay the guy until Robin was able to come in and make the save after already freeing all the prisoners. None of that would have happened without Maid Marian. So big ups to her.
Follow-up question. Like I said, we got to see her in her Peter persona when she went to the forest and laid it on Robin. She was dressed up as Peter again. And that made me wonder, and Delvin, I'll let you take a crack at this. Do you think she's like the guys in Sherwood Forest still think she's Peter?
I would hope not. It's like, so I can take that two ways. It's like, oh my God, Peter smells amazing. Have you noticed this? The rest of us smell like and BO, but Peter always fresh as a daisy. I wonder what's going on.
I made me wonder. I was like, does she still go there under the guise of Peter just because it's like a bunch of dudes in the woods, and that's probably the safest thing?
I think that's just her, woods clothes.
That's her forest outfit.
Yeah,
okay,
I thought it was kind of cool because, like, you see her in her different outfit. You see her in her Maid Marian outfit when she's, in the castle, just hanging out in the castle and that. And then when she was with Robin, she's got that outfit on, that woodsy outfit, and got the little Peter Pan hat going on. And I thought it was kind of cool that she's going to travel somewhere. She's going to dress up for it.
Yeah, it's like the Princess Leia, indoor camouflage stuff. Yeah.
I got you. All right. Makes sense. All right, Gene, go ahead and get in around two. Make us all look bad with, I read things. And
well, this is going to be a what then. It's kind of building on, the stuff that Jason was talking about. So they've got one armorer in the entire area. One armorer. He's making plate armor for 3,000 guys. So this plan's going to take like 20 years to build up.
That's what I'm saying, man.
What is going on here?
He's like, it is too late to stop it. I said, no, it's not. You got like 2,994 more people you got to get. And 3,000 more pieces of armor.
And we're not even talking about the expense. Medieval armor. You would put foot soldiers at most in like padded leather, because a suit of plate armor, that was like a knight's income for a year to pay for one suit. And he's got 3,000. How much money does this guy have?
All of it, apparently.
Yeah. I was writing a lot of notes during this, and most of them are what the notes.
You and Jason should have just called each other and been like, this makes no sense.
See, he knows actual army logistics. I know medieval history. So, and that's why the two of us our heads were exploding watching this.
Nerds. Y'all a couple of nerds.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, let's get back to podcasting about Robin Hood. Speaking of Robin Hood nerds, Pat.
Well, yes, Jared, as I'll go on again, speaking about the Robin Hood. And what I liked about this episode is there's a lot of scheming going on. Robin's got his scheme. The Count, obviously, has got a couple schemes going on. The Armorer had his own scheme going on, trying to fool Robin Hood. And then you got Marion playing the game that she was playing against the Count. And, well put together scheme upon scheme upon scheme. Even Friar Tuck with his scheme of, I know this place very well and I'll be able to find everything. And I thought that was cool that she brought him along too. I'm like, here comes the blocker.
Charlie Bravo over there. Absolutely. Charlie friggin' Bravo.
And when we kiss, whoa, Friar. How do I do it? Anyways, Jason.
Hey, little girl, is your king home? Did he go and leave you all alone? I'm a count with a bad desire.
Whoa, here comes
the friar.
Got Jason wound up again.
Yeah. Well, actually,
we don't have to edit. It's funny.
We're all laughing.
Well, it leads into, because it does actually lead into my high, which was Friar Tuck in this one. I really enjoyed his role in this. He shows he's clever, he's witty. I love that scene when the Count's getting a little too close. He's like, gotta back off. He gets the keys. And the line that he uses at the beginning when he says, yeah, I remember this house and I remember how it was always open, always open. There's a little dig in there. And then at the end, when he closes it up, he's like, it turns out this house is, still open after all, because he got all the dudes in there. I thought Friar Tuck had a pretty good role, and I noticed him a lot in this episode.
Yeah, he was good. Delvin, you get to bring it home. Of course, we all know, Pat's going to do what Pat does, but go ahead, Delvin.
There was good interplay with the directing and how they did things, where they would relate the chess match that was going on to the actions that Robin Hood were taking behind the scenes. I think Maid Marian at some point told the Count, you need to watch out for your pawns. Meanwhile, all of his foot soldiers all over the castle are being completely taken over at the time. And they did that quite a few times, just intermingling the game of chess with the larger chess game that was being played between Maid Marian and Robin Hood and the Friar, freeing not only the force conscripted 6 people or so, but, taking out the rest of the guards too. I thought that was very well done. So that's a high.
Yeah, I concur wholeheartedly. And that's the end of our official highs and lows round.
Well, you know what? I really don't have anything, but I can do some Robin fights.
Oh, okay.
And I'll just do Robin fights Marion in chess.
Mm-hmm.
Robin fights the armory cart.
Yes.
Robin fights some guards.
Yeah.
As they're taking it over. And then Robin also fights the Count.
Indeed.
So simple Robin fights.
Thanks for keeping up with Robin fights. Gene, you had a lot of stuff on your notes there. Did anything that you were like, I got to get this one out before I go?
Yes.
I knew it.
All right. Friar Tuck kept making reference to the previous owner of the castle. The king owns all castles. He may let you live there, let you use it, but so who was the previous owner? Richard? Richard didn't lose it. He still owns it.
He did one of those move-in things like old boy did to Robin Hood in the original episode.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, Weasley Count. All right. With Weasley Counts down for the count. Anyway, I'll get into the fun facts. All right, let's talk about Count de Walden. He ended up opening a chain of bookstores called de Walden Books. I'm just kidding. All right, so here's your actual fun facts about Count de Walden as played by Leslie Phillips. First of all, he had a long life. Dude died just 2 years ago at the age of 98. He did 80 plus films from 1938 until 2012 was when he kind of retired from acting. He was on a very popular British show called Carry On, another popular British show called Doctor in the House. And over here in the US, we might recognize him from movies like Out of Africa, Empire of the Sun, the 2001 Tomb Raider, and probably his most famous role, even though you never laid eyes on him, is from Harry Potter. He is the voice of the Sorting Hat. When the kids are like put in their houses, he's the Sorting Hat voice. Well, he was for the first 3 movies, and then, like I said, he retired, and I think somebody else picked it up after that.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yeah. When I looked him up, a lot of times I get this tunnel vision, like, oh, this guy was an actor in the 50s. I was like, man, this dude has been around. Yeah, and I'm a big Tomb Raider fan, so I was like, oh, he was the old dude in Tomb Raider. Okay, cool. So anyway, that is Leslie Phillips, who played Count de Walden and the owner of the de Walden Books chain of bookstore. Let's get into arrow ratings. All right, you guys know how this works. 1 to 5. 5 means you loved it. It split the arrow that the dude shot before you shot your arrow. Number 4 means it was very good. 3, it was good. 2, it was just okay. And 1, I did not like it. It bent my sword, even though it's still fully functional. All right, let's start with Pat. We'll just go clockwise. Pat, what do you got?
Well, Jarrett, I thought this one was very fun, very exciting, kept me interested. I am giving it a full 5 arrows.
Woo! All right. I enjoyed this one quite a bit too. I think I'm going to be a chump and put it at a 4. I liked it a lot, but I some of them I've liked a little better, but I still really enjoyed it. So I got it at a 4. What about you, Jason?
Yeah, I'm with you on that 4. I thought that it was very entertaining, thrilling, and I see. Yeah, 2 chumps. I got them. It was entertaining. I laughed out loud, and I mean there was some menace in there too, some thrills and chills. I couldn't quite get past the plot, though. I mean, he needs a little help with his strategy, I think. So 4 from me.
All right, Delvin.
That's when you have a team and you workshop the ideas. It's like, okay, I want 3,000 soldiers. I'm going to force them, because you're like, how are you going to afford that? I don't know. I didn't think about that. So team helps. Anyway, also one more thing. If it's a bent sword, like it's more like a scimitar. So it's okay. Still very effective.
Well, fully functional.
Yes. 4. I wish Joe November were here. Because I really am looking at that 4 or 5, because they're just like key characters that did cool things, which is always great. I understand Pat's 5 very much so. I had it at a 4 leaning in. I would have been heavily influenced if all 3 people before me had gotten a 5, but since that's not the case, I'll settle on the 4.
That leaves you, Gene.
And I'm never going to get invited back on this show because I'm going to rate it a 3. I mean, there was some good humor and everything, but there were just too many what-does for my medieval brain. I see you, Delvin. You have to remember, I watched all 8 episodes prior to this and there were 4s and 5s in those.
I agree.
This one it kind of went off the rails for me. So I'll see you guys
really is
somewhere other
for Alan Porter and his grumpiness tonight.
I wish I could do an English accent for you.
Well, okay then. Should have started with Gene. All right, let's get into the Sherwood Forest mailbag. We are thrilled to kick off these comments with special shout-outs to our Crusaders Club members. These are the fine folks who have joined our crusade. They enjoy early access to special Longbox episodes. They get to vote on show content, raffle prizes, priority seating to be guests on shows. These are the folks reaping the benefits and giving so much appreciated support to the show. But before I read those off, I just want everybody to know he's not a Crusaders Club member. Maybe we'll win his heart one day. But Adam, Jason and I know that you're out there listening, and we appreciate the heck out of you, buddy. It was nice meeting you at Heroes Con. Now
we really need you to hit that like button. Just hit it. Just hit it so we know somebody's watching or listening to this.
We need you to drop a comment somewhere. We'll tell you how to do that later, Adam. But it was really cool to meet you.
It was.
And but now let's get to the people that put some shillings in our coffers.
Alan W. Wright.
Angelica Wolf.
Auburn Elvis.
Bill Beer.
Bradley Dello.
Braxton Underwood.
Clinton Robeson.
Captain Entropy.
Clark Westfield.
Dave Collins, Battle Wagon.
Eric Hodges.
Eric Porter.
Ezra Gallo.
Gary V.
Gene Hendricks. I think that's how it's pronounced. Gene
You're right.
I think it's
perfect.
Eugen Heinrich, actually.
It's Gene Hendricks. Thanks for being here, Gene.
Gerald Green.
Heinz K.
Jason Keene.
Jason Lady.
Jeff Polier.
Jeremy L.
Jim Jarman, Jim Jarman, Jim Jarman, Jim Jarman. I hope you like Jim Jarman too.
Jim Neal.
Joe Thomas.
John Watson.
Josh Strickland.
Candace Ward.
Captivating Kathy Bright, the MVP.
Matt and Lizzie Passo.
Mark Ross.
Maxwell Traver.
Michael Minton.
Miranda W.
P.D. Devins.
Paul Hicks.
Rick from Jeff and Rick Present.
Rob Morgan.
Samantha Maney.
Sean Urbanski.
Spidey 67 put.
Red Sheet, we're still counting on you.
Steve Cronin.
Tim Price, the Podcrasher.
Tony Pennington.
And the Toronto Cop. Shout out to you, Derek. If we miss anyone on our list, we apologize. Please keep in mind we record these episodes well in advance of release, so if you're a recent addition, we should be adding you soon, but still no worries. Just let us know that we missed you by sending an email to contact@longboxcrusade.com. Pat checks those emails, and he's lonely, and he will help get everything straightened out. Might be asking yourself, how do I become a Crusaders Club member? It's simple. You go to patreon.com and just search for Longbox Crusade. For as little as 100 pennies a month, you'll get access to the amazing world of the Crusaders Club. Come and check it out. For pennies a day, you too can feed the Crusaders.
We're trying to build 3,000 Crusaders.
That's right. We're trying. We got to order the armor. We got to order the food.
Away from me.
Good job, Jason. All right. Now, if you don't have 100 pennies laying around, but you still want to help us out here at LBC headquarters, it's pretty simple. Just write us a review, give us a like, give us a share on social media. All that stuff really helps, and we appreciate the heck out of you. We're talking to you, Adam. Adam, you got to let us know you're out there somewhere, buddy. We would greatly appreciate it. And you can do that in several different places. We're Longbox Crusade pretty much anywhere you look, but we'll get to that. Before we get to that, though, let's get to some of the folks who are out there doing the LBC work, man. True Crusaders out there that are doing shares and retweets and that kind of stuff. This is from episode 82, which is Robin Hood episode 7, The Challenge. Who's out there doing the good stuff?
Well, I'll just read them real quick. We got Doc Strange, Kathy Bright, the MVP, Coffee and Comics, and Robin Hood, the Bold Outlaw.
All right. That's like double our usual numbers. Good job.
We are just packing it in. I don't know if there's enough room in here for everybody.
You know what? We actually got a couple of comments on that episode as well. Delvin, go ahead and hit us with that first one.
Robin Hood, the Bold Outlaw, says the gang at the Longbox Crusade discover the craziness of 1950s TV scheduling as Robin Hood helps out Sir Richard before he meets him for the first time. These folks do Robin Hood proud. Hashtag I'm following Robin Hood.
That's our boy right there, man.
Awesome.
Alan Wright. Like when we get feedbacks and comments from him, he's such a smart guy on this. It makes you feel all warm inside. Thanks, Alan. And it looks like we have one more comment. Go ahead, Gene.
Well, this one is from Kathy Wright, the MVP, and she says, I think Jared just called me smart. Hashtag winning.
I don't remember the context, but you are smart, Kathy, and thanks for participating in the discussion. As a reminder, if you want to be in on this, one of the easiest ways to do it is leave a voicemail. We'd love for you to leave a voicemail, Adam. It's 707-532-5269. We'll play it on the show. That's 707-532 LBOX.
Call us, Adam.
Adam, pick up the phone.
Poor Adam's out there feeling like a ton of pressure now, but it was cool to meet you, buddy. And with that, I'll hand it to Jason.
All right, that's it for this episode of Saturday Matinee Theatre. If you'd like to hear more from us in the realm of comic books, check out the Longbox Crusade. Pat, where can they find that?
Well, Adam, this one's for you. You can find us on all the fine podcatchers out there, or just go to www.longboxcrusade.com, or go look us up on X, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, all at Longbox Crusade. Back to you, Jason.
Thank you, Pat. And Adam, I don't know if you like James Bond or not, but if you do and you want to hear us on our trek through all things James Bond, you can check out On Her Majesty's Secret Podcast. Jared, where can they find that?
I know you're worried that Chris Walken's going to come in right now, but
I don't know if worried is like, I'm just resigned to it. I think.
No, he's not here. He's out horseback riding, and I think you know why. Anyway,
because he likes horses.
Yeah, correct. He's big. He's big on the steeplechase. Anyways, if you want to hear us on our trek through all things James Bond, check out On Her Majesty's Secret Podcast. And that is available on all your finer podcatchers. Or you can go directly to www.secretpodcast.podbean.com. And if you want to interact with us, you can check us out on the X at OHMS Pod.
Thank you, Jared. If you'd like to chat with us online, we can be found at Delvin. Go ahead and kick us off.
DEE_RAY1977, Twitter, Delvin Ray, Instagram. Pat?
Well, Delvin, I'm glad you asked. You can find me on the X at Christatos01. And Adam, I would like you to subscribe to me.
So much pressure.
Jared?
Well, thanks for asking, Pat. I am at Yard Sale Artist. That's X, Facebook, and Instagram. They're all at Yard Sale Artist. You can check out my artwares at www.theyardsaleartist.com, or you can find me anywhere batter dipped fish is being sold. Jason.
You can find me at Jason Albrick on Instagram, Threads, and Facebook. And I'm pretty selective on my beer battered fish. I only go to select locations. But Gene, where can they find you?
Well, I'm at E.R. Hendricks VA on all social media platforms. I find a new social media platform. I just grab the name on there, make sure no one else can get it. Whether I actually use it or not is different, but you can find me, E.R. Hendricks VA on whatever social media is your preferred one.
And I want to thank you for working at all the Veterans Affairs emergency rooms. It's very nice of you, Gene.
Well, my good buddy, Dr. Bill, kind of prods me in that direction.
All right, the VA stands for voice actor. I just know it.
It was a bit.
We uncovered his secrets. Oh, I'm sorry. This is Jason's part. I got jokes with Gene. Ha ha ha. We're having a good time.
Are you done? Are you done?
I'm going to go on mute now.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of Saturday Matinee Theatre. Get ready for our next episode. Get your whips oiled and your 6-shooters loaded as we continue our coverage of the 1937 serial Zorro Rides Again, Chapter 3, Juggernaut. The meetup location, Casa de Vega. And I think we all want to know, is this the episode where it gets on that big old machine gun that we saw? Gatling gun.
Please remember to replace the speaker on the post when you leave the theater.